I'm Allison. I'm a Canadian living in London, and I love yarn and I love to knit. I have been living here for just over 6 years and have been blogging about my exploits, but sometimes it's really hard to remember to blog, and the way people are consuming blogs is changing, and sometimes I just really want to show what I've been getting up to. So I've decided to vlog, and I'm just diving right in. The Edinburgh Yarn Festival is coming up in just over a week, and I recently went to the Unravel festival in Farnham, as well as the Knitting and Stitching show at Olympia here in London. And they were two very different shows, and I had two very different experiences. So I wanted to show you what they were like and offer some of my tips in terms of things to do or remember for having a great yarn show experience, and also some things maybe not to do. Take a look.
You have a furry.
Yeah, well, it's
your microphone. I know. It just looks hilarious.
Okay, excellent. So, have you been watching The Great British Sewing?
I have been watching The Great British Sewing Bee.
Do you have a favorite?
I do. I'm not sure I should say though. It seems a little unfair.
Oh, all right. Do you want to tell me, and I can air this later?
It's Juliet.
Which one's Juliet?
The youngish black woman with the great braid. Oh,
yeah.
Love her.
Yeah, that thing she did with the wax cotton.
Yes.
Yes.
Her,
you know what I mean,
the
jumpsuit.
Jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
With the
one sleeve thing. Epic.
So beautiful.
She's my favourite. But I didn't say that out loud.
No, never.
Yeah.
My daughter's born.
I'm not as small as your daughter.
Oh my god. I think it hides
She's trying to
I'm videoing this, just so you know.
Oh my god. And with you, can I have a picture? Can you take a picture?
Oh yeah.
Hiya. So I'm at the Knitting and Stitching show, the spring version, at Kensington Olympia, and oh my gosh, I think I have broken all of my rules for visiting yarn, fiber, textile shows. I did not have a list. I did not look at the vendors beforehand. I didn't have a plan. I've just rocked up. I've also come here on an empty stomach and feeling a bit rubbish because I still have a cold. And yeah, I just walked in here, and I know this show tends to be smaller and quieter than the behemoth that is
the knitting and stitching show at Alley Tally, but oh my gosh, I walked in here at 1:30 today and it's just been monumental chaos. People are sitting on the floors everywhere, having snacks and lunch because there's just not enough seating. All of the stands seem to be doing a booming business. It's really, really great, but yeah, I'm a little overwhelmed.
Okay, so the knitting and stitching show at Olympia. What did I do wrong? It kind of boggles the mind. On the video, I was trying to think about all the things that I'd done wrong, and I was so overwhelmed that I literally couldn't remember all of them. So the first one was I hadn't eaten before I went. I wasn't hydrated. I didn't have snacks. Which meant that I had to go into a massive queue just to get a Pepsi and a donut. I think I was wearing comfy shoes. I didn't have a budget. I hadn't looked at who the vendors were and sort of created a plan of attack. I sort of fell back on my old standby, which, you know, will work in a pinch. Do a lap of, you know, the different rows and see who's there, and then make a mental note, or ideally on a piece of paper, who you want to go back and see. But it wasn't fun. I was overwhelmed, and as I said on the clip, I'm lucky I didn't come away with spending a lot more cash, just because sometimes I get overwhelmed and then it's like, well, okay, I sort of forget what my budget is or what I'm looking for. As it was, I looked at the footage and saw Erica Knight and her daughter there, and I know that they had a new yarn launched called Wool Local, and I really wanted to see it, and I totally forgot to go back and see them. So hopefully I will see them at another show or get to check out the yarn in person another time. Anyway, so that's what I did wrong. The week before, I was at Unravel, and for that one, I really had to be organized. I got off a plane from Australia literally the day before, so I knew that jet lag was probably going to be a factor later in the day, and I needed to keep my energy levels up and excited, so I had a plan. Okay, so I'm at Unravel. I've made it. This is the Great Hall, and lots and lots of people are here already on the Friday. The Friday is the first day of the show. It also goes on Saturday and Sunday. And there's always a whole crush of people here on the first day, just trying to see what's new and what's great and get the good stuff and colors and everything. I've already fallen down and made a purchase, some lovely Schilfling DK from Triskelion Yarns to work on a new pattern from Marna and Katini Big, and it's the simple Sinister Cat pullover, which I'm really looking forward to knitting. I've already seen a ton of people that I know, and it's just a really great day to be at Unravel.
Can you tell me about what you're wearing?
I'm wearing Patchwork Crescent by Kieran Foley.
It's beautiful.
So he provides the architecture, and then you put the designs on it yourself. So this is kind of a Northern European folk story.
Amazing. What's the yarn that you've used, or is it all bits from Stash?
No, it's mostly Jameson and Smith Shetland Supreme, but I dyed them all myself. It's all plant dyed.
Wow. Oh, you're clever girl, aren't you? And what's your name?
I'm Liz.
Okay, so tell me about this amazing shawl.
This is Monsoon Rain by Marianne Mace, and it is in Hythe which is the beautiful kid silk that I've got. It's the sort of bluier color, and the Bale Singles Balsam. So it is a glorious little fluff of goodness. Yes.
You've got lots of goodies in here, don't you?
Thank you.
It's not too far from the station. Tell me about your yarns. What have you got for us today?
I do have my Merino yarn here, the Rauberg, the new one sport weight, and the original cave.
Are you doing all the dyeing yourself?
I'm not dyeing, I'm just making the yarn.
It's lovely. That's gorgeous.
No, thank you very much. The Garnsud is a Norwegian company. It's a social integration project for refugee women where they are being taught how to dye yarn, but they're also being taught the language. They're being fairly paid, and they get help with all the red tape and these things that comes with being an immigrant.
Amazing. Okay, so tell me about this yarn. What is it?
So guld is the name is amazing because guld means gold in English, but uld means wool. So it's like gold with wool in the same name, which is absolutely brilliant.
Perfect.
And it's all naturally dyed. One of the founders, she's an archaeologist, and she's very into like medieval age, and they use all kind of old techniques, very into maintaining old craftsmanship, using old tools.
Nice.
Just amazing. This one is 100% alpaca.
Okay.
We are also getting an English lamb's wool, but this was what they basically could manage to do before we came here. It arrived on Tuesday.
Oh.
So.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi. Hello, darling.
How are you?
Good, how are you? What new wonderful things do you have today?
Dreaming colour smooshy with cashmere, but not a lot of it left.
What else?
What else?
Look at this.
Those skeins there. Yeah.
Okay, what else do we have? Okay, when you need.
We have a Wonderland. The tenty bags are the pink hazel bags of America.
Okay.
So everybody, any serious knitter in America has an tenty bag, okay? And look at this. So you can just put it on your wrist, put it through the little loop, put your little, knitting in it.
Oh, how fabulous is that?
How swaggy is that? I've got one. I use it all the time.
Yes, you do.
So,
Oh my goodness.
as you might know, we get this on our site and we sell out in 24 hours. This is it from our last batch, but we'll have a lot more for Edinburgh Yarn Fest.
Excellent.
Yes, and the girls will be with us on our booth at Edinburgh, and we will have hundreds and hundreds of skeins. And a new pattern at Edinburgh.
Excited!
Andrea was designing a little hat, I think, or something special with the new Spin Cycles Versus DK waves.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Great to talk to you about yarn. Exciting.
My top tip for doing a yarn show is to make sure that you have a plan. So that's number one. Number two, execute your plan, but be flexible. So sometimes you might find that you have to queue, or something might get sold out that you were really hoping to get. The key is to just stay focused, but be flexible, and know that, you know, you're there to have a good time. You're there to look at yarn. Just sometimes you might need to go with the flow. Third thing, comfy shoes. Okay, other pro tips. Hydrate. Pace out your coffee if that's what you need. Whether it's tea or coffee, water. Having a bottle of water, even though it's a little bit of extra weight to carry, definitely helps. There's a lot of wool at these shows, obviously absorbing moisture in the air, and it does get super dry and you can be really thirsty. Also saves you trying to find a water fountain or queuing to get something to drink later on, as well as any inflated prices that there might be at the concession. So hydrate. It's always a good idea to pack a little shopping bag for purchases, especially in the UK, because they do charge for plastic bags here. But we always have totes from different dyers and retreats and shopping stores, so it's really easy to just, you know, carry a bag that folds up with you. A nice thing to do when you're researching the vendors, and this is a big one, is research your vendors to see who's going to be there, what they're going to have, and make a note of something that you might be looking for, whether it's a new project that you're getting ready to start and you need a sweater quantity of yarn, or you're just finishing something up and you need buttons or trims, I don't know, smaller size needles to do the ribbing on a cuff, whatever the case may be. Make sure you've got your list, but also make a note. Have you been to this vendor before? Have you knit anything from this vendor before? Whether it's a yarn, or did you see them last time you were at this show and you've made something with the purchase that you had from them? Wear that item or bring it to show them. Vendors love that. They really love seeing that their yarn goes off or their item goes off and becomes something. And they get really excited about that. That it's not just gone home to live in somebody's stash, right? So that's kind of a big thing. Now it's going to be probably hot in a lot of these shows. So layering is really good. Finding the coat room, if they have one, is great. Otherwise, layer. So are you wearing a light jacket that can be folded up into your bag? Are you wearing something hand knitted, whether it's a cowl or a little shawl, something, or, you know, a jumper that you've made? If it's going to be hot in there, are you wearing a cami or a t-shirt underneath that you can take the sweater off later? Also, it's really nice to be wearing something hand knitted because it's an automatic icebreaker. So you might find yourself queuing to get into the show, to buy a coffee later, or just sitting down at a table for a little breather and pulling out your project to work on. And people always, you know, it's the biggest icebreaker. Oh, what's that pattern you're wearing? What yarn did you use? How did you find it? What was the name of the designer? It's really the easiest way to meet people at a show, and it's not the usual boring, so what do you do? Anyway, it's a really terrific icebreaker to be wearing something and ask people what they're wearing as well. It's not quite Oscar's red carpet, but you know, What's the designer? What's the yarn? Those kinds of questions go a long way with meeting people. The other thing that's a nice to do, not necessarily a need to do, but a nice to do if you've got room, is make sure that you bring a small portable project with you. You may find yourself killing time in a queue, or if you just get a little overwhelmed and you want to sit and knit for a bit, it's a great way to meet people as well. People immediately start. It's like a big old knit night, and figuring, just meeting people and learning what they're working on and what they like to do. You might learn a new technique just from watching what somebody's knitting on, find new patterns and inspiration. Those are probably my best tips. Okay, the other reason I felt like Unravel was a really great show is that I had a chance to talk to people. And it's not that I didn't have that opportunity at the Knitting and Stitching show, but it was really busy. It was super overwhelming. And this is why I like to go sort of more later afternoon at a show as opposed to first thing in the morning. Yes, if you go first thing in the morning, you're going to sort of get in there and see all the good stuff. And if there's, a dyer who has a new colorway or something that's kind of a limited edition that you're really hankering for, then absolutely, by all means, get there early. But I find that a little, after lunch, when things are, everybody's sort of taking their lunch break, that's when I really like to go through and chat with people, because I find things are a little bit quieter and you can really have, it's like going to a farmer's market. You can have a really meaningful conversation with the person that you're buying your yarn from and find out where it's from, what are the stories behind it. All right, so talked a little bit about Unravel and the vendors and why it was successful, but let me show you what I got. Because I'm really super proud of myself. I did stay on budget, as I said. I had a list. I was going specifically for some yarn from Triskelion. And originally I got the Schilfling DK because it's to go with this lovely DK that I already have in stash to do the simple cat pullover. Darned if I can remember the name. But it's really beautiful and lovely, and so I thought I'd get the yarn for the body of the sweater as well, which I did. Except that on a later pass through the Great Hall, when I saw Carthen at Triskelion, I noticed, creaky chair. On a later pass through the Great Hall, I noticed that Carthen at Triskelion had this beautiful, I'm not going to pronounce it right, Carthen, I'm sorry, Hulwyn DK, which is baby alpaca silk and cashmere. And now this is one of my favorite bases, so to see it in a DK is amazing. This color is called Foggy Day, and I got 2 skeins for the body of the sweater that I'm going to be making. So it's to make a little toddler sweater, and I just thought, this is yummy and scrumptious, and I will get to enjoy knitting it even more. And it was going to be hand wash anyway for the mummy receiving it. So if it's got to be hand washed, it might as well be something super, and this will be even softer for the baby, right? So, sorry, I can't even stop petting it because it's so delicious, super delicious. So that was what I went there for. Then I said, I had a little bit extra. I think I decided I was going to spend, I think my budget was like £50 or something. So I also found this very cool British Sheep Breeds tea towel. And this is from the good folks at thewoolist.co.uk. So it's got all these different sheepies on it, and because there are so many different sheep breeds in the UK, tons and tons and tons. And actually, I think it would just be a cool for a hanging. I mean, yes, obviously it's going to get used in my kitchen, but you could totally use this as a hanging if you wanted. And actually, even Julie at Tillyflop, she does a really great, she does knit and crochet tea towels, but she's shown different things that you can do with them, like turning a tea towel into an apron or a project bag, as just using it as fabric. So that's pretty cool. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this. I'm probably going to be really boring and just use it as a tea towel. Anyway, so those were sort of, something planned, something not planned, but I was in the mood to keep myself open to possibilities and, you know, new to me suppliers, that kind of thing. And then I saw the tail smock at Tall Yarns and Tails. So on Instagram, you may have seen me wearing, I'm totally in love with this, by the way. It's 100% linen. It is made here in the UK. And here, I'm going to have to stand up and show this. But it's like a little vest, sleeveless. And I was wearing a collared shirt, which definitely helped with it. And then it's got like these long tails. Now, I'm 5'8", and this comes to sort of like the back of my knees. But I just loved this sort of vintage kind of look, and then it had this flowy bit, and it wasn't too baggy, because the Slow Wardrobe, they do have these really cool linen tunics and sort of, what do they call them, like genie pants, like Aladdin kind of wide pants, but sort of cuffed at the bottom. And they're really great, but I find for me personally, I just always feel like there's too much fabric, and it's just a little bit unmanageable. Like you could fit me and a friend in it, just because it's so roomy. But they are definitely really comfy things, and so this smock was really nice because it's something I can wear with jeans, and I can get that flow and that swish of the fabric without a whole heck of a lot of bulk. So that's what I really liked. Anyway, that was my splurge purchase for the day. So that was my Unravel. Yeah, and it was a really great show. But coming up in a couple of weeks is the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and it's going to be kind of bonkers if the last 3 years are anything to go by. So there isn't a podcast lounge this year. I won't be pulled in different directions. I am going to work on a friend's stand for her, and I will be there talking about soak and cocoa knits and lazadas, and I don't know the stand number or anything like that, but I do hope that if you see this, that you will come and say hello, that you will let me know what you think. And in the meantime, do subscribe. And I have no idea when the next episode is coming out, but I have lots of really great things planned, because I always seem to be getting out and about to various places in the UK and trying different things and learning about different things in this industry. And while I haven't been writing about it in my time in the last 6 years, I really want to share it with you. And vlogging, I hope, is the right way to do that. So let me know what you think. Leave your comments or send me an email, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time.